subscribe and share.
Hello everyone. Today our topic of story is the magic stick. Let's start. Long ago, there lived a man who had 3 sons, Matthew, Hans, and Anderson. The 3 boys had a distinguished characteristic. Matthew was tall, while Hans was stout, but Anderson, the youngest, was known to be stupid and foolish. The man owned a goat. The family lived by selling its milk. The 3 boys were entrusted to take the goat for grazing into the fields by turn. One day, it was Matthew's duty to take the goat to the pasture. He left with the goat and reached a green meadow. The billy goat was set loose to graze in the field, while Matthew sat under a tree. There was shade beneath the tree, and a pleasant breeze blowing made Matthew doze off to sleep. When he woke up, he saw that it was already evening. He called the goat and asked, "Hey Billy, did you have enough to eat?" Then the goat replied, "Oh yes, I have had my full. I can't eat another blade of grass." Thus Matthew returned home with Billy the goat. The old man, Matthew's father, patted at the goat and asked casually, "Well, Billy, hope you had a hearty meal today." The goat replied, "Oh no, I couldn't get a single blade of green grass to eat." The man became furious at Matthew. He scolded him and said, "You are good for nothing. I told you to do a simple job, but you failed to do it. Get out of my house. I don't want to see your face anymore." Poor Matthew felt extremely hurt, but the decent boy didn't open his mouth to answer back to his father. He went away with a heavy heart. Next day, Hans took the goat for grazing. He allowed a free hand to the goat and let it graze as much as it liked on the green pasture. In the evening, he returned home. His father asked Billy, "Hello, how was it today?" Once again, the wicked goat replied, "I didn't get anything much to eat." The old man flew into rage. He called Hans and scolded him. He was held responsible for not allowing the poor goat to eat fresh green grass. Consequently, Hans was also turned out of the house. The following day, Anderson left with the goat. The goat grazed all throughout the day, but complained in the evening that there was not much to eat. At last, the old man turned out his third son too. Now the man was left all alone. He was bound to take the goat himself for grazing. As usual, in the evening, he asked the goat if it had its fill of the fresh green grass. To his surprise, he received the same reply, that it was still hungry and didn't eat much during the day. The old man realized his folly. Keeping blind faith in the goat had made him lose his 3 sons. He got infuriated at the sly goat. He shaved off his head and drove her out of the house. In the meanwhile, the eldest son, Matthew, was trained as a carpenter. Having turned the art of carpentry proficiently, he thought of returning back to his father. He went to his master and said, "Sir, I have been working for you for some time, but now I wish to return home to my father." The master was pleased at his work. He presented him a parting gift in the form of magic table. If anyone placed an order of a variety of dishes to the table, then the very next moment the dainty dishes would be laid on the table. Matthew was very grateful to his employer to have presented him such a miraculous gift. He thanked him, "Sir, I shall always cherish the wonderful gift you have given me." Matthew stayed at an inn on his way home. The innkeeper was surprised that he didn't place any order for any type of food or drink. At first, he thought that perhaps the customer ate outside, but it was strange that he stayed indoors only. The innkeeper looked from a hiding to see for himself. He was surprised that the man stood before the table and ordered for food and drink. The very next moment, the desired objects were served on the table. The thought stuck in the mind of the innkeeper, "What a wonderful table it is! It shall be very useful in the inn." The innkeeper secretly got a similar table, built and replaced it with the magic table. Shortly, Matthew reached his home, met his father, and told him about his rare possession. The old man was delighted to have his eldest son back into the house. He said, "Son, I have been foolish of believing the wicked goat. I lost my 3 dear children because of her lie. I am very pleased that you have come back. I hope your other two brothers will also come back. Matthew showed the miraculous table to his father and said that they could together have a grand meal only if they ordered it to the table. The father arranged a large party, inviting a number of friends, relatives, neighbors, and distinguished people of the town. Matthew proudly stood before the table shortly after the guests had arrived and ordered the dishes. He waited for a few minutes, but nothing happened. He repeated the order, but strangely enough the food didn't arrive. The old man and his eldest son had to suffer embarrassment before the guests. They laughed at them and said, "They have gone crazy. They must know that such miracles don't actually take place." However, Matthew realized that he must have been cheated at the inn. Anyhow, now he was helpless. He had been fooled and mocked before the guest. Even his father did not believe him and thought, "Perhaps my son has lost his senses." All his while Hans, the stout boy, worked under a miller. His master was pleased at his hard work and dedication. After some time, Hans expressed his wish to his master. "Sir, I wish to take a few days leave to visit my father." The miller granted him leave and presented a donkey. He said the donkey shall give out gold coins from his mouth if you ask it to bray. Hans was overjoyed. "Oh, that's wonderful. I'm sure my father will be glad when I show it to him." The donkey and Hans stayed at the same inn on his way back home. When the bill was produced at the inn, Hans asked the donkey to bray. The gold coins poured out of the donkey's mouth. Hans made the payment in the form of gold coins. The shrewd innkeeper could not allow Hans to leave with the donkey. He immediately sent a faithful servant to get a similar donkey while he engaged Hans into a conversation. He succeeded in exchanging the donkey when Hans was looking elsewhere. Later, Hans reached home. His father hugged him lovingly and said, "I am so happy that two of my sons have returned home. I only wish that your youngest brother Anderson also comes back." Hans met his elder brother too and told his father and elder brother about the donkey. They laughed at him for bringing a donkey, but Hans explained the special characteristic of the animal. They didn't believe him. Hans stood beside the donkey and asked him to bray. The donkey stood like a stupid ass. He didn't budge or opened his mouth. Hans realized that he was cheated by someone. He forced his mind and could make out that the donkey might have been changed at the inn. Now he realized why the innkeeper was trying to be extra sweet to him. He rubbed his hands in exasperation and cursed the man. Anderson, the youngest son, who was always scorned at as being stupid and silly, worked under an artist who taught him the art of carving the wood. Initially, Anderson worked as an apprentice. His master was pleased at his grasping power and efficiency. The boy was happy to have gained some recognition in life. But a few months later, he started getting homesick. He wished to go home to his father and longed to live with his brothers Matthew and Hans. One day, he asked his master to allow him a short leave to visit his house. The master said, "I have been happy to have you with me and wish you stayed at my shop. Anyhow, you may go home on a holiday, and I hope you will soon come back to me." The master presented him a magical stick. He said, "The magical stick shall come to your rescue if ever you are in distress. All you need to say is, 'Stick, stick, just beat and hit.' The stick in the sack shall start hitting the person who troubles you." Anderson also stayed at the same inn. The innkeeper became curious about the stick. He thought of stealing it, wondering that there may be something valuable about it. During the night, he crept quietly into Anderson's room and tried to get away with the stick. Accidentally, Anderson woke up. He shouted, "Stick, stick, just beat and hit." At once, the stick started hitting the innkeeper. The poor man was caught red-handed. He jumped, howled, and cried, but the stick would not stop. It continued hitting him. The innkeeper begged to be forgiven and agreed to give magic table and the donkey to Anderson. When Anderson realized the man was adequately punished, he asked the stick to stop. He reached home along with the table and donkey. His father and brothers were overjoyed to see him. He told them about the three special gifts. The two elder brothers were glad that their youngest brother was much smarter and cleverer than them. He had succeeded in obtaining the magical gifts which were stolen from them. The three brothers lived happily in their house. Their father once again threw a grand dinner which was relished well by the esteemed guests. The gold poured out from the donkey's mouth made them wealthy. They soon built a grand mansion, married beautiful ladies, and lived happily. The magic stick was always there to guard them from wicked people.